The most unsettling truths are not hidden in shadows, but in plain sight, inside the very minds we try to ignore. Throughout history, the sharpest thinkers have often found themselves not celebrated, but cast aside, not because they were wrong, but because they were unwilling to pretend. But why is that? Why do societies instinctively turn away from those who see too much, too clearly? The answer is buried deep in the architecture of human psychology. Think about this. When someone stands tall with physical strength, we admire them. They represent power, protection. When someone accumulates wealth, we might envy their success, but it doesn't shake our core. Yet, when you meet someone who is intellectually sharp, someone who peels back illusions with ease, it can make us uncomfortable, even defensive. Why? Because intelligence doesn't just inform, it reflects. And reflection is a mirror few are ready to face. Psychologists refer to this as cognitive dissonance, the discomfort we feel when our deeply held beliefs are challenged. But in the presence of a deep thinker, that discomfort becomes constant. It lingers, it magnifies, and it turns the thinker into an emotional threat. The unsettling part? The thinker might say nothing at all. Their silence is not empty, it's revealing. A quiet mind can shake a noisy room simply by existing. That's the paradox. Intelligence doesn't shout, it reflects. And in that reflection, people see not the thinker, but themselves. And not everyone likes what they see. When someone is stronger than us, we don't question our worth. We just see difference. When someone is wealthier, we might aspire, not recoil. But intelligence is personal. We are our minds. We build identity from thought, belief, perception. So when someone enters the room who thinks more deeply, who sees patterns where we see randomness, or meaning where we see noise, it can feel like a direct critique of who we are. But the irony is, the deep thinker rarely intends to challenge anyone directly. Their only crime is clarity. So why does this clarity provoke such resistance? Let's go deeper. Human evolution favored social harmony over intellectual accuracy. Thousands of years ago, survival didn't depend on abstract reasoning. It depended on belonging. To be excluded from the tribe meant death. So our brains evolved to prioritize cohesion, not truth. This is why, even today, people will bend reality to preserve group belonging. They will ignore evidence, mock insight, and punish the one who dares to think differently. In social settings, intelligence can disrupt equilibrium. Not because the thinker is unkind, but because they are unsettling. And unsettling truths threaten the one thing people fear more than being wrong: being alone. This is why thinkers throughout time, Socrates, Hypatia, Spinoza, Weil, were exiled, ridiculed, or forgotten. Their words did not fail logic. They failed comfort. And comfort, for many, is the true religion. Ask yourself, have you ever introduced a nuanced thought in a group discussion only to feel the room go quiet? Have you watched eyes glaze over when you asked a question that didn't have a convenient answer? That moment isn't rejection of you, it's rejection of disruption. Your mind became the mirror. And in that mirror, others saw questions they weren't ready to ask themselves. What's even more fascinating is this. In one-on-one conversations, people are often more open to new ideas. But in groups, the resistance intensifies. Why? Because in groups, people don't just process ideas, they manage identity. They compare, they posture. And in that comparison, the presence of a deep thinker can feel like a social threat. Not because they are arrogant, but because they are different. Studies in modern neuroscience show that when someone feels intellectually outpaced in a group setting, their amygdala, responsible for fear and threat detection, lights up, the same way it would if they sensed physical danger. So, the thinker becomes the threat, not the aggressive kind, the existential kind. And that's the most isolating threat of all. In our culture, charisma often trumps clarity, certainty trumps curiosity. We gravitate toward those who tell us what we want to hear, quick answers, affirming beliefs, emotional validation. Meanwhile, those who ask difficult questions are left in the corners, too complex for the algorithm, too patient for the feed. This is the age of rapid content and shallow conclusions. Deep thinkers speak in paragraphs, but the world scrolls in sound bites, so they are not excluded because they lack value. They are excluded because their value takes too long to process, and attention is currency. Still, thinkers persist. They write, they create, they wander, often alone, but rarely aimless. Because in their solitude, something grows, a deeper kind of strength. Not social, but spiritual. This is what thinkers like Schopenhauer, Simone Weil, and Kierkegaard understood, that the price of seeing clearly is standing apart. But this distance, while painful, is also a gift. It's the space where vision expands. Schopenhauer once said, "The person who thinks deeply must often feel alone." But he also believed that solitude isn't a punishment, it's a sanctuary. The question isn't, how can deep thinkers fit in? The question is, can society ever value discomfort more than ease? Can we make room for the inconvenient truth? Quiet voice, the long answer. If you've ever felt isolated for seeing what others miss, for feeling what others ignore, you are not broken. You are simply tuned to a different frequency. And while it may be quieter where you are, it's also clearer. So keep thinking, keep reflecting. You are not alone. You are just early, and the world will catch up.